Honestly, I'll just keep it like this. Wow, I've been working on this afternoon, this hammer here.
What is going on here? Breakfast!
So here's the long story. I think my first experience with VR personally was at PAX Melbourne in 2016. I went there, obviously there were booths where people were showing their VR games and I got to experience that. You can actually find on YouTube, I think it's called Primal Carnage. It's a first-person shooter with dinosaurs, and on PAX Melbourne they were live streaming it and I'm on there, so you can see that clip. Not bad at all. Anyway, so I experienced that and thought, I'd love to make something for this. Obviously at the time I was making things like Wilderness and Binary OS and these games that are on itch right now, which kind of are the groundworks of saying I can finish things even though they're not, very good games. But I mean, if you look at any good developer, they started somewhere. No one's first couple of games are gonna be good, period. If your first game's good, then clearly you're doing something wrong. Fast forward, 2-3 years, and I go to a Bucks party. And what do we do at this Bucks party? We go to Zero Latency in Melbourne, which is a VR experience. The games themselves are fun. The one we played was the zombie VR game, where we fought zombies together, and that was fun, just hanging out. My friend Logan always mentions they'd be shooting zombies and I'd be walking through a car looking in the interior, or would go to an open space and I'd just look around and be like, looking at through my developer eyes of like, this is very impressive. And later that night, we went to Crown, and Melbourne went to the Crown Arcade, where they also have a VR experience. It's amazing to see how much the quality has changed from the original Oculus to where the Vive is. Now we have the Index, which is probably like even a tier above the Vive. I don't know, I haven't experienced it yet. And by then I was working on OJ Shop, which right now is still in development hell. I was also working on Audio Attachment, which is a first-person game. I kind of dropped it once I got the VR headset. So I was working on those projects. I was also just browsing the Facebook Marketplace because I do that. That's where I bought my computer, and there you can get some pretty good deals there. And after those experiences, I was looking at headsets more and more. I was tempted to buy the Oculus Quest or the Go or something like that, something more mobile and modern, but I'm a fanboy of Valve, and honestly I always saw myself buying a HTC Vive or something that would connect to the computer. I'm on the Facebook Marketplace and I check VR headsets yet again, and mostly the cheap ones are just the Samsung and the Google Cardboard, but then one day I see a HTC Vive going for a really good price, like under $500.
shown at the start of the video, I tried to record myself while in VR. And the problem with that is that I have all of this mic equipment to make it sound a bit better. And things kept not working out. And I've tried recording that session about 3 or 4 times now. And I don't want to waste any more time, but instead of doing that format, I'm just going to look over the footage and talk with my microphone, since that's the most safe way to do it. Because I have learned, if you're doing this by yourself and you can't see where cables and cords are, it's dangerous. Now it's time for some development logs. Since I kind of showed it in the last video, I'm going to show you guys some clips of my friends trying VR for the first time.
Long nights, alone, sleeping by myself with no one to hold. And
You are the one tower.
don't you worry, my friend, you got time. But right now I think I need someone who takes me to dinner and wine and kisses me every night.
Oh, hello.
I just
I
want
think I lost.
somebody
Where does it tell me? Are they cool?
I just want somebody to love me like that. I just want somebody to love me like that. I just want somebody to love me like that.
I don't know where it went.
Put it round. Put it round.
Like,
You can set yourself on fire to save the restaurant. That's very valiant.
okay, I get it.
Try
Don't worry,
again.
replay. That was.
Okay.
How do I put it on?
What do you feel? Is it something inside of you that wants to be free?
Wait. Is there a sense?
We are young and
Yeah, that's funny,
afraid,
Jack.
but life is unpredictable. Can you be the one?
Alright, so for this VR project, I'm using Unity 3D, Blender 2.8, and the obvious Photoshop and other things you use just to manage things around. So the main idea is this: you're placed in a room with a bomb and has 5 minutes to go, and you need to get rid of it, or disarm it, or make sure the bomb doesn't blow up where you are, obviously. I've modeled and textured the bomb, and I'm very proud of it. I like how intricate the wires are, and when you look through it, you can see the holes of where the dynamite is. And it's my first time being satisfied painting a texture in Blender. There's also the hammer, which I'm also very proud of. Through the week, I've been blocking out where I want things to be, and I've modeled things now. I have a window that opens, I have a door that opens, but there were 2 other doors I tried to get to open, and for some reason, they just weren't working. So being a smart developer, I just got rid of them and kept the one that was working. Everything was the exact same, but for some reason, these 2 doors didn't work while this 3rd one did. So I don't know, I'll figure something out later if the problem comes up again. Speaking of Blender, I had to revert back to 2.7 for a bit because Blender 2.8, the version I have, doesn't have the cell fracture add-on available. And the cell fracture, what it does is it fractures a model in Blender to make it practically used for destructible reasons. So it shatters the object, keeps it in its position, but the mesh is now separate from each other, so you get little pieces. So with the glass, it was just a flat cube. It was just a simple cube, and I fractured it, and now I have a flat plane with the glass material, so it's see-through, and I have a separate mesh that's the destroyed mesh, and on the collision of the normal glass plane, that is removed, and then I place in the cell-fractured mesh, and that has a rigid body, and it shatters and has physics and everything. I don't know how long this short little project's going to be.
I